We've all felt it before, feeling nostalgic for a memory or a place we've never even experienced, like a rural Japanese landscape. John Conde calls it anemonia in his book, The Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows, but personally, I can't narrow an experience into just words, so I created a whole world as to express this feeling. Because what if this feeling wasn't anemonia at all, but simply nostalgic? What if we had lived them before, in possibly some ancient past? And what if all the paintings, musics, art, and writing we indulge in love which spark these longings are only referring to that one single ancient memory? Possibly a memory shared by all of humanity. So, to find out and figure out this ancient memory, I looked into a lot of arts and just books and music and literature and illustrations that I felt would sort of make me see these images or make me feel nostalgic or animonial or this longing that I want to go there, or in my turn, or in that sense just find out more about this ancient memory. And for really books, I just reread passages of maybe Tolkien, just trying to relay the prose in my mind and seeing how it can make images in my head. For music, I would look a lot toward the YouTube videos where it's just a playlist of music where they would depict it with an image or an illustration of some landscape, and then you can just go about your day studying. But for me, it was really interesting seeing how nostalgic we can feel for seemingly nothing when we just stare at this given image and listen to a tune without a thought in the world. And yeah, I just all of a sudden just staring, I would have the urge to write something or to draw something down because of something I've seen that that was completely unrelated or seemingly unrelated to the music. And that was how a lot of the stories and yeah, just the inspiration came from this world. As for illustration came from, well, mostly this too, mostly from YouTube, but a lot of Tolkien, Tolkien's illustrations. There's also a book called The Annotated Hobbit, where it's just a Hobbit but with illustrations, and one of these illustrations was I think it was a postcard with the wizard in the middle of a forest depicted on it, and Tolkien said that image is what inspired Gandalf, which I find really intriguing. But it was also it was also which intrigued me as well, and I wanted to take some of that experience from Tolkien's and of what I saw and what I interpreted from it into this world. But the next thing, and I think the most crucial thing, was nature, and specifically seasons. I feel like seasons have a such a memorable mark to them, especially when it comes to looking at our past and seeing what we can make of our memories. Um, I mean, whenever I think of a memory, I always relate it to some sort of nature's backdrop, like spring, summer, fall, winter. I mean, where I live, there's not so much winter and fall. It's more like spring and summer. But still, even then, you could still feel what is winter or feel what is fall by the literature, by the paintings, by the art that other people make and other people have experienced. And this sort of creates this seasonal framework, if you will. And what I mean by that is like a season becomes the ideal form of something of this memory. For example, it's like when we think of winter, if I can ask you, what do you think of when you think of winter? It definitely reminds you of something, maybe a memory that you hold in your life, but also some things that we've read too, a memory of other things that of other creations that we've indulged in. We can think of fireplaces, snow, Santa, toy workshops, anything correlated to winter. And while it's sort of, I guess, culturally encoded as well, I wanted to use this world as to explore more than just culture, but this more metaphysical thing. Why do seasons? Why do some things? Why are they attributed to seasons? And why do seasons give such a strong impression on us nostalgically and animonially? And I feel nature and seasons also tie everything else that I've been searching in, like like art and writing and music, because the images I've seen from them are very naturist. I mean, very potent in them. You could easily tell if it was summer, if it was fall, if it was a spring or a winter day. You can tell from the snow and the fireplaces what was going on and what was happening. And from there I started, I guess, connecting other fictional places that to seasons as well, and they became part of this image and later into this world. For example, like Calvin and Hobbes, maybe uh, Miyazaki's and Diana Jones's Howl's Moving Castle, um, the town Itomodi from Your Name, I found really, really inspiring as well. I just love its architecture. Yeah, and these are just some examples that kind of spark that image. I mean, sometimes these images will just come out of nowhere. I'll just look at the sky sometimes, and then in the middle of summer, I'd say it was literally the middle of summer, and I would just look at the sky, and all of a sudden, I would see a Christmas alleyway. It was just the most bizarre thing I've ever experienced. And then I had the urge. I couldn't stop myself from writing this or drawing this down. And eventually, it wasn't even out of the intent that I had to create the world. It was just an intent to safekeep it and to archive it and to not forget it. The urge to not forget something was so strong. It felt like if I couldn't write this down and describe the images, then I lost the treasure. And I mean, you could definitely see the downsides of this. It feels very idealistic, kind of, maybe. If you've read Dreams of the Ridiculous Man by Dostoevsky, you can kind of see the illusion that this could cause, because this is only just a mere idea. But in this world, that I'm trying to say is that these images aren't ideas, but real memories that we have. And I guess I'm just trying to convey it in a different light and make a story which connects all these universal things together and interweaves them. For example, one of the world building in the world is these ferries, these flying ships or ferries that take the form of, well, not just ships, but really anything, any form of anything, really, as nonsensical as it could get. But the important thing is that they represent seasons, and then there's a group of people, or just, yeah, just a group of people or a selected group of people who are to drive these ferries, and they're like the epitome of the seasons themselves, like seasons as if they were personified, and they use their ferries as to disperse and to share the gifts of their framework, as we've talked about, into the world. So for winter, I mean, winter is known for, what do we attribute winter to? Snow, fireplaces, that sort of thing. So it would give people that sort of gift, if you can call it a gift. Spring would be like flowers, rivers, or just a certain memory that would be attributed to spring in this world. And I would try to integrate the patterns I saw while I was doing this, trying to find this memory. And from what I could decipher, I mean, if you look a lot around, let's see, like just art in general and stories, you see a lot of trees, a lot of characters under trees or under the shade of trees taking refuge of some kind. You see it in Attack on Titan with Eren and Mikasa. You see it in Calvin and Hobbes with Calvin and Hobbes. You see it in Suikoden 2 with the main character, his sister, and his friend Joey. Yeah, you see it almost everywhere in any sort of fictional work, and then I sort of translate. I started sort of to see these patterns, and I was like, oh, if these stories can are connected by this, maybe that instance, these characters under the tree can be like attributed to a season, maybe. So it becomes a sort of a hidden but a universal symbol in art, or even the real life that these people in this world live. And if they ever do, then they themselves get these images or in their heads of other people that have done so,